Alrighty then. I got tagged, so before I start on 5 things that people may not know about me, I want to go ahead and tag my 5. So I'm gonna go ahead and tag NetZDriverZ. I'm gonna tag Nadia Tees. I'm gonna tag Gray Tex. I'm going to tag Quinn E. Gorgeous. And is that 5? Oh, one more. The question mark of God. I'm also going to tag her. So, let's get on to 5 things that people may not know about me. Let's start off with number 1. Probably around the age of 20, 21, I did some computer work. They called me a computer technician. I actually did go to a couple of years of schooling for it. But it wasn't all that lucrative. I did more hardware stuff than software, and in-home installations. And the money really wasn't all that great. In fact, it was pretty poor. Some of that is just the company I was working for, but and I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed going out and delivering and meeting new people, but I didn't enjoy it wasn't really it was just a job. So today, basically, I don't really know very much about. I could probably put one of these things together, but it's so within a couple of years, it's so far so far advanced, you really would have to keep up with it. So that's probably the first thing. Number 2, I have it written down here, so stay with me. Number 2, okay, some people may know this, but maybe not the number. I have traveled I have traveled to 12 countries and 40 states, maybe one or two more than 40 states. I didn't sit down and count them each by each, but around 40 states I have traveled to. And when I mean traveled, I mean I spent more than a night. More than one night. It wasn't like I just went through them, like drive through or anything. So that's another thing. Number 3, I'm going to put a picture up here, and this is probably going to make some of you guys laugh, but hey, I cannot deny my past. So as you see, I was pretty fly for a white guy. Yes, yeah, that is how I dressed for a period of time, and what can I say? What can I say? It looks awful. It does look awful, and it's not something I'm proud of, but I was the fly for a white guy, Number 4. Here's a good one. I went out on a couple of dates with a friend of my wife, and as a matter of fact, that is how I met my wife. I didn't know my wife before I dated her friend, and her friend brought me to her, and it was a little awkward for a time, but yeah. I guess you could figure that out. But it all worked out. They're still friends, and she's actually dating a football star, soccer player in her country. So it worked out for her as well. But yes, I did cause a little friction there, but I think I made obviously I know I made a good decision. Nothing against the other girl, but I'm happy with my life. And number 5. Okay, this is one I thought about, and I thought it'd be really interesting to talk about a little bit. Every major decision that I've made in my life, first of all, every major decision I made in life so far has worked out to my benefit. I'm on a lucky streak, knock on wood. But so far, like life-changing type things, every decision I've made has worked out for me. Um, and the funny thing about that, or the ironic thing about that, is most of my decisions that I made in my life, most of the major ones, life-changing ones, were made out of emotions. What I mean is, when I joined the military, I was that was an emotional decision. I wasn't really going anywhere in my career, and I was in my early 20s, but not 20 or 21. I was like 23. Actually, I went in at 26, but I made the decision probably at 24, and it took me a little while to get everything in order. But so I felt like I was going to be a failure, and I joined the military out of that emotion of fear of failure. Got stationed doing the job that I had a photo featuring it. At first, I was doing that sort of like the construction of towers, and I also did a lot of fiber optic work, cable work. And then the base that I was stationed at closed down, and I got shipped to Florida, and I made a major decision out of missing my friends, and I ended up, what they call, my career had an overage, so I ended up cross-training into what I originally wanted to do in the first place when I went in, which was do firefighting, because that's something that I always wanted to do. Since I was in, since I decided, hey, I wouldn't mind doing this when I grow up, type thing. So, so I was really missing all the friends I had met out in California. So what I did was I ended up checking into that, found out that they had an opening in the fire department, and cross-trained into that, and then got shipped back out to California. And finally, which eventually led me to my wife too. So everything's done for a reason, I suppose. My fate, whatever you want to call it, dumb luck. So the last major decision I made was, it was right before we were pregnant with my first son. I was thinking about getting out of the military, which I had served about 9 years in, and I just told my wife, hey, don't worry about it, I'll land on my feet, we don't need to worry about it. But the reason I made this decision was because I knew as soon as I left overseas and came back stateside that I was going to be shipped out. And my wife and I were together for like a year and a half, and I knew like as soon as I got shipped back, they were going to ship me out for like at least a year. And that was going to be an ongoing thing if I stayed in for the next, if I would have stayed into retirement 11 years, I would have been gone half that time. So, and the other thing was that they started to send even firefighters, they started to do the convoy duty, which has quieted down lately, but the old IEDs. And so there was two things there. One, and then when we became pregnant with my first son, I definitely knew I made the right decision, because I didn't want to leave my wife to raise our son by herself. And even if I stayed in and nothing happened to me, it would be a yearly, me being gone for a year. It just really isn't good for a marriage. So I made that out of fear, a couple of things, out of the love for my family and out of fear of going over there and, basically, nobody wants to die, right? So there you go. That was 5 things that I think people didn't know about me. Hope you enjoyed it.